Hi, Eugene.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, friends.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're going to stop talking a little bit about all the news and the updates and everything that's been going on in the new 2024 edition.
And relax.
Take back a little bit, and I wanted to go back and remember when we were little kids.
Yeah, the first approach, even I didn't know what Dungeons and Dragons was, but I saw the cool bunch of kids fighting weird monsters and the little bald guy teaching them stuff.
Oh, you gave it away. Yeah. Today we will be talking.
Oh, I gave it away.
That's all right. We will be talking a little bit about our thoughts on the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and for some reason it's been thrown back, or it's been making appearances here and there.
Yeah, of course, like the cameo of the party in the Honor Among Thieves.
A bunch of the illustrations and the new books that are coming up. So just talk a little bit about what we remember, what we enjoyed, and our thoughts now about the old cartoons. My name is Eugene.
And I'm Eddie.
And this is
The Middle-Aged Barbarians.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I remember never seeing it as a kid.
No, I did see it as a kid, but obviously since I was a kid here in Mexico, I saw it dubbed.
Ah.
So I only saw the original voices in English as an adult.
So how I can't even imagine how that was.
Well, I mean,
Soy el maestro del calabozo.
Yeah, there you go.
That.
Basically that.
That
yes.
was the way.
And the evil guy was they gave him this like really effeminate voice to the
Avenger.
Yes.
Oh my.
I mean, if you see the design, it fits.
He looks like maybe like a Malefica's half brother.
There you go. Or Malefica in drag.
Yeah, maybe without the green.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is a cartoon that came out back in 1983.
Something like that, yeah. I saw it here at around 89. So, yeah, probably took a couple of years to get translated, dubbed, and so forth.
I don't remember. I do not recall. I remember growing up, I remember there was He-Man. I remember G.I. Joe. I remember Thundercats. I used to love Thundercats. But I never saw this growing up. So it's interesting that you being here and me over there, you actually saw it, and I never saw it as a kid.
I don't remember it as much because I haven't rewatched it recently, but yeah, I remember seeing it, especially remember the intro that had the roller coaster. Yeah,
I love the fact that this is like the quickest backstory in your face, less than 60 seconds, and the whole premise is set up. Yeah. You got kids, they're on a roller coaster, they go into the roller coaster. I'm going to say isekai.
Isekai, there you go.
It's 1983 isekai, not even knowing that that's a term that will exist 30 years later. 40 years later. And then they find themselves with this little bald guy who's telling them he's the dungeon master. It's a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Thankfully, the sadomasochism wasn't as popular.
That's what you think.
Well, I mean, it was way before 30 Shades of Grey, so nobody would know what nobody would have made that association about a dungeon master.
Yeah, maybe. So they kind of like just appear, and he hands them these weapons with their classes. He's like, hey, you get a bow, you're a ranger. You get this magical hat, you are a wizard or a magician. You get invisibility.
Club for the barbarian.
The barbarian gets his mighty magical club.
The cavalier, which is the most cowardly one of the bunch, gets a shield.
Yeah, he was like the little rich, pompous boy. He was really annoying.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't actually know each other before, or a couple of them already knew each other, but most of them didn't. They weren't really friends until they came into or maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
No, I mean, I took it upon myself to watch the first couple of episodes this last couple of days, and oh my God, yeah, they were all together. They know themselves. But, I mean, this is back in the 80s. Neighborhoods were different. Relationships were different. People used to go out on their bicycles in the streets and play ball in the streets. And so maybe they knew their neighbors, but they weren't really
close. Yeah,
friends.
Because the barbarian was way younger. I think he was the little brother of one.
Of the rogue, of the thief.
There you go.
He's her little brother. And then apparently they adopt this unicorn that came running out of nowhere. And we get a glimpse at the biggest enemies in the series, which is Vengeance. I'm going to say that.
Avenger, right?
Venger. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the electro house music called Vengeant. I recommend that highly. Vengeant. Listen to him. He's crazy. Venger. And then all of a sudden, this very liberally drawn depiction of Tiamat.
Yeah, I remember it wasn't very well animated. Even as a kid, it was like, that doesn't look really cool.
Yeah, but I mean, less than 60 seconds, the premise is up and they're in it because they're fighting the Tiamat and this Venger is coming up behind them. And I always thought the Nightmare had the bat wings until I looked at it closely, and no, those are his wings that he spreads when the Nightmare flies, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah. I also thought that, the wings were part of the horse.
No, man, those are his. Those are
his cape
wings.
was actually wings.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
so what is he? Like a demon? Like a devil? Like
spoiler alert,
Yeah.
he's the Dungeon's Master's kid.
Oh my god.
Drama.
There
I read a little bit in the wiki about the cartoon because I don't know, just looking up stuff. You know me, gotta look up stuff. And it's funny, man, because it went for 3 seasons and they were planning to go for a 4th, but I guess they got canceled. There was even a lot of
it was back when there was the backlash, right?
Yeah, it was the backlash, and apparently, you mentioned a couple videos back something about like a very violent anime, and this is supposedly it was really violent for that time.
I mean, it wasn't bloody, but yeah, it was violent. I mean, you had I remember like a ton of epic fights and so forth.
Yeah, I mean,
not gory, but yeah.
Yeah, and it was little kids doing it, so that kind of probably freaked parents out a little bit more.
Well, I mean, if the little barbarian has like a gigantic club, that's like kind of my son would probably go grab a club and do stupid stuff.
So, I mean, it's interesting because this branched out. I read that there were a bunch of books and stuff that came out back then as well. Like, I don't know if you remember, I was a really big fan of those choose your own adventure books.
Of course, yeah.
I don't see those being made. I mean, I guess reading has lost popularity amongst the young ones nowadays. But I don't see many of those choose your own adventure books anymore.
No, not new ones being written or so forth. I'm thinking that a lot of its place was taken up by because there are board games that are very similar to those sort of choose your own adventure games. So I'm guessing a little bit it got replaced by that. Like legacy games, if I'm not mistaken, you really liked Risk Legacy.
Oh yeah, I love that.
So maybe that's sort of a similar narrative adventure. You kind of...
Well, Risk Legacy was different because after every game you'd modify the board.
Exactly.
It has certain terrains, but it's not a choose your own adventure.
Well, no, but it has kind of a little bit of that feel. There are a couple of legacy games that do have like that, but they're more cooperative because choose your own adventure was really a one.
Yeah, it was just me and my book and leaving my finger where I was just in case what I read I didn't like or it took me down a bad path and I cheat and go back and just start over again.
Oh, I remember that part of the point was that you had to cheat.
Yeah, I mean
the book, the solution to the book to getting the good ending was for you to cheat.
But which one was that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay, I don't have that one. I had a bunch of Ravenloft ones, which I thought was awesome back.
Oh, it wasn't a D&D based one. Here they were edited by the editorial called Timun Mas, and I read them in Spanish. So I mean, even if I remember the title, it wouldn't mean anything to you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, this was a cartoon. Now I know, speaking of one of the producers, he abhors it. He did not like the cartoon at all. He thought it was.
If he's the producer I'm thinking of,
not you, the other one.
He doesn't like anything.
But you probably didn't like it either. He said,
He had no childhood. We have talked about it.
So, I mean, and even going back now and watching it, because I know there's a lot of like, how would you say this? Like when you remember things
Nostalgia?
very fondly with nostalgia, but when you actually go back and watch it again, it's a little cringy. Like we were also talking about, I think we mentioned this in the Monk video. We mentioned a series called Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, whatever it's called, where you're at. You guys watched that here when you were kids. Yeah. I didn't watch that until I was 26, 27, and I binged the whole series. And that we're talking, I mean, it's not like One Piece.
No, that's massive, really violent,
but
bloody.
It's like 6 arcs, and it's like 5 episodes of them running up a staircase, and it's like almost like that soccer one.
It's Captain Tsubasa.
That's what it's called in English.
Well, in
Super Champions.
Super Champions would be the equivalent. Captain Tsubasa is how you would find it.
Yeah, so you have these kids running across a soccer pitch for the whole episode, and nobody does anything. It's kind of like that. It's like, oh, we got to get to the next house, and they're running, and the and the music, the little music is always there. So with this cartoon, getting back to what we're talking about, what I found kind of cool was that every episode was ammunition. I mean, there was a certain correlation from one to the other, but the actual activities, it's like if they were all different one-shots kind of put together.
Yeah, but reminds me a lot of D&D, because what was their main objective of this party? What they wanted to, what do they want to accomplish at the end?
They want to go home. They want to go home, but then now they had chances to go home.
Yeah, and they missed them by...
Or they would go back to help somebody, and then they'd be altruistic, and they'd give up a little bit, and they'd go back. And I guess, it's kind of interesting.
So yeah, the final episode, I don't remember it perfectly, but it was a 2-parter, and it's when they finally go home, and I think they eventually do manage to go home.
We'll have to sit together and watch that one. Maybe we can watch that here on
stream,
on the channel, and we can stream that. I'm
guessing that would be something that is not really, I don't know, Hasbro could.
The episodes are on YouTube. They're free to watch. Okay. That's where I saw them. You just look them up. They're there. Because I looked on the platforms, man. I checked Prime. I checked Netflix. I checked HBO. I checked Max. Nothing there. So
I'm guessing this is probably the sort of thing that film. What do they mean by Filmation?
What?
Filmation? Was it the studio that made them? No.
Toei.
Oh.
They were done by Toei, and I think they were bought by Marvel, something like that. I think I read somewhere along the line, but I don't remember. Even if you put that face, that's what I read. Fact check me, and I'll correct myself in the comments.
I will put it as a subtitle if we were really, really wrong.
But all in all, I tried watching it with my kid.
That's not his jam, I'm sure.
No, the old style animation, plus the fact that it's in English, and he prefers stuff in his language, Spanish, so it's a little difficult to sit and watch it with him. I can try to get my wife to watch it, but I don't think it's going to go over.
It's not going to work, no.
So I'll probably just watch it by myself and little by little bits and enjoy that again.
Yeah, but
you know what I thought was interesting? It was a diverse cast.
Oh yes.
A little iffy on the class assignment and the vest and the dressing, the way they were.
Yeah, the black girl was dressed like an acrobat, right?
Yeah, it was an acrobat class. I have no idea what an acrobat class is. Do you? If I look that way, it's the producer. Do you know, producer, what the acrobat class is?
They were playing. Supposedly, were second Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Well, that was when it was.
So they would be, we're probably like a...
What is a cavalier?
Oh, that was like a mounted knight, which is not what he does.
There's no horse.
No, he has no horse. He just has a shield. There's
no lance, no sword, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. He should have a lance. That was what I was talking about. How come they gave him just one item each?
They all had one. And I think there was even an episode that I saw that Venger wanted to get their items and...
Oh, they're supposedly very powerful artifacts.
They're old relics, and then he managed to get them. But when he got them, they had run out of power, and the characters were actually on their way to replenish the power. And then they enter this cool-looking skull. A lot of cool ideas actually in the cartoon that could probably be worth looking into, hashing out and doing something with our players.
Yeah, the party was very interesting. Mainly the kind of contrast between their abilities and their personalities, because the Cavalier was supposed to be brave and he was the most cowardly of them.
Yeah.
The Wizard was kind of dumb.
A little bit, but then I guess they all grow into their
powers. Yeah.
Although the Barbarian was spot on, he just wanted to hit everything with his club, so that was kind of great.
Yeah, give him a small kid Barbarian powers. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, go watch it if you can. Enjoy it. I think it's interesting because they're making like a certain comeback. I know I saw Venger on one of the covers of the new Dungeon Master book. He's actually there on full display, And there's an illustration that's been making its rounds on all these videos
the whole party, yeah.
It's almost the whole party. I forget. Somebody's not there, but they're standing in like these ruins with a unicorn decor on it. Is that something specific? It's not anything that I know. If you guys know what that is, let us know. But it's like these really weird ruins with unicorns etched on the walls and stuff. And so it's interesting. It'd be kind of... And again, like you mentioned, they were in the movie. They were in the latest movie in the Gauntlet part or the
And
Labyrinth.
they survived.
And they survived. But they were older. If you look at them, they're older versions of themselves.
Yeah, they're not kids. They're like young adults.
Well, it's kind of cool. So, I mean, maybe it's them showing a little bit of respect and love to this cartoon that was co-produced by Gary Gygax. His name is there. Or maybe they're just pulling on our heartstrings and trying to grab us by the nostalgia.
Well, I mean, it's like everything. No, it's lore, it's history. We talked about that in a previous video. Trying to erase history doesn't really go well, even if it's controversial or not as good. So, I mean...
And you can even get miniatures.
Of them?
Of them, but you got to buy those blind boxes.
I mean, I'm sure in second market that you could get the whole collection.
Oh, probably.
For a lot more, but...
Then they're worth... Oh, yeah, definitely. But anyway, we'll have to convince the producers to buy us minis.
Yeah, they will look kind of nice over there.
Very cool. he says thumbs up. He'll like it.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, I think that'll be today's episode. Again, if you agree, disagree, let us know. If you have anything to add to the conversation, please write a comment. Share us your ideas. Come join us on our Discord over at ND Hobbies. That's where we're at. We're on their channel. They gave us a little space there for us to go and play and chit chat.
There you go.
And
remember what you always say?
What do we always say?
We say to rage responsibly.
That's right. Rage responsibly because we're getting old. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, the back is not as good for raging as liberally as before.
All right. We'll see you all next episode. Take care.
Take care.